So we're sitting here in Sean Hyatt's van with the lovely Marty Ricewig.
Oh,
Hi, Marty.
Quite lovely.
And over here, the gifted and talented Desi.
Hey,
Evidently not lovely.
not as lovely as you.
And we're here because of this guy. This is Sean Hyatt. Tell us what you heard from the Lord and a little bit of the story.
Yeah, well, we're sitting here in my van with the four of us here, and we're overlooking the DTC area. And this goes back actually a few months. A few months ago, my wife Jessica and I, were sitting in a restaurant here in the DTC called Sauce, great little wood-fired pizza place. It was right at the lunch rush on a Friday, right at noon. Excuse me. And it was so busy, they couldn't get us a seat, so they told us sit down, got us some drinks, and so we waited for a seat to open. One did, and it was just me and Jessica and the baby. Had a great little lunch, and about halfway through the lunch, just in my spirit, suddenly I hear this voice, "I want you to plant a church in the DTC." And this is not something I would say to myself, because the prospect of that scares me quite a bit.
You were thinking about lunch.
That's right. Just really enjoying the time we were having, and the Lord spoke this to me, and it's exciting to hear the Lord speak, but when He asks you to do something so out of the ordinary, or something He's never asked me to do before, the prospect is pretty scary. So I'm sitting there thinking, was this the Lord, or was this just me? And I was pretty sure it was the Lord. And then I heard His voice speak, and I'm just kind of listening as I'm there eating, and I felt like He said, "I love these people." And I'm looking around, and I'm seeing all these corporate kind of people who are on their lunch breaks, business people, and it's packed. And it was just a really poignant moment. So I wrote it down in my journal. I told my wife about it, told some of my brothers about it. And that was about 3 months ago. And since then, I've been battling with what to do with it. Just to get into action, or should I be training, in some way? Because I've never just planted a church from scratch, especially not an organic church. I'm not really sure where to start. So since then, the Lord's been speaking to me a few things. One thing He spoke to me is about David, how the little boy David went up against Goliath, and he did it without a spear, without a sword. He did it with his own proven weapon, which was a very simple weapon, but he did it because he knew the Lord had put it on his heart to do it, to go up against that giant. It didn't matter the tools that were in his hand. All that mattered is that the Lord had put it on his heart. And his conviction was, the battle is the Lord's. It belongs to the Lord. He'll fight the battle. We just need to go. We just need to do whatever He's telling us to do. Yeah. So that was my assurance that I just need to get going. A few days ago, which is what's bringing us here, I was worshiping in my home in the afternoon and felt like the Lord put on my heart, you should invite your brothers in this Aurora area, this Aurora Centennial DTC area, to go and pray over the area and listen with you about what the Lord might be saying about it. So threw an email out to my brothers, and they responded right away, and everyone wanted Saturday morning, so I'm just feeling really blessed by my brothers' willingness to join me and by the excitement of what the Lord's going to do.
So for people who don't live in Denver, DTC stands for?
Stands for Denver Technical Center, I believe. And it's just, other than downtown, it's the real main center of corporate business, lots of tall buildings. So yeah, it's a very upper middle class kind of area.
Yeah.
Very corporate area.
So I'm going to pan over the landscape here and let people see a picture of that, and we'll tell you the rest of the story as it develops, right?
Thanks.
Okay, so here's what the DTC looks like. See if we can... So you can see the business section, tall buildings there. Okay. I'm here with Desi and Sean, and this is kind of a follow-up on our conversation in your van. And that was how long ago was that? It was like winter. Is that?
Yeah, that was probably a year and a half ago,
Okay.
I think.
You'd been out to eat with
Yeah. I think it's
Jessica.
been a while.
You felt like God said plant a church in the DTC, Denver Tech Center, right?
Yeah.
So what happened from there? Give us a quick
Yeah.
update.
So after all that, me and Marty Reiswig and Matt Rampy, which are two members of our MRT here in Southeast Denver, Missional Resource Team, we get together once a week to pray and listen around Southeast Denver. We started frequenting establishments in the DTC on a weekly basis. So like every Thursday night, we'd go out and try to be led by the Spirit and just go wherever we felt like we were supposed to go. So a couple big places started surfacing and we started visiting those. One of them was Baker Street Pub, which is a really big place for people in the DTC to congregate. And so we started hanging there and met a lot of people there, and it seemed like nothing was happening for a while. Like we made some interesting contacts and stuff, but no real disciples, no real church forming. But then during one of our MRT sessions, our prayer sessions, we prayed and really felt like there's this thing called meetup.com. It's a website where you can create a social group in your area, and it sends it out to a bunch of people who have a similar interest as you in your area geographically, and you get together for whatever the interest is. So we created one of those groups, called it Beer and Bible. And just
Are you allowed to do that, Beer and Bible?
I don't know, but we're doing it. So so we really felt like it was the Lord. It was definitely a God thing. Like, maybe we should do this. And it was very scary to actually be doing something where you're putting yourself out on a limb, you're not sure how it's going to turn out. So I dragged my feet for a few weeks. I finally got on the website and created it, set the first meetup, and to my chagrin, like 20 people joined the group within about a week online. And then in our first meeting, it was just 3 of us, me and Marty and this one lady, Jan, who now is our good friend and sister, and a very displaced believer, wasn't going to any kind of church. She joined in with us, latched on. We started meeting every Sunday, basically to have a Bible study in this pub. And that group now, over the course of 7 months or so, has grown into a group of anywhere between 7 and 9 people each week. And it's a family. Everybody loves each other. We start by checking in together each week. I spend about 15 minutes checking in, then we're going through this Bible study. It goes from the beginning of the Bible to the end. And once that's done, the plan is to sort of transition it to a more organic type of meeting. It's already a house church, as these people are coming together each week to love on each other and catch up with each other, pray for each other, study the Word, talk about what we're hearing as we go. So it's a church. And we didn't know how this was going to be the answer to what the Lord said, but it's worked very well.
Church in the Denver Tech Center.
Yep, it's a church in the DTC,
Then
right in the heart of it.
Then you help somebody start another kind of Beer and Bible?
Yeah, so the Lord's been really cool. We've got 2 other Beer and Bible groups going now at other places because this one has worked so well. Another one's nearby in my town next door, which is Aurora. That one's been going for about 6 weeks, and it's been just as successful. We've got anywhere between 6 and 12 people that show up at that one every single week. And these are churches. A couple people in each group really aren't believers. A couple people, a handful, are folks who are believers but didn't really go to a church or not happy with traditional church. And a few are attached to a traditional church pretty soundly but don't get the fellowship and the intimacy that they need. So this ends up being an add-on to that. So It's been really good. And one other thing, we've created a CO2. We call it a CO3 because there's 3 of us. me and Matt and Jan, this lady, our friend now, we're the three leaders of the one in Baker Street, which means we take turns facilitating the meetings. But we meet every Thursday morning to check in, listen to the Lord, share what we're hearing, and this is how we're discipling Jan. So it feels even more like a church because that's happening. We're making disciples. So.
Thank you for telling us the rest of the story, at least up until this point.
Absolutely.